didn't know, you didn't feel that you were good, and yet when you saw your stats and being the youngest, did it not sort of kind of clue you in, hey, this could be a great career for me? Maybe I need to practice a little bit more.
Mm-mm,
No,
never. I,
no.
I I honestly never knew there was a career path in this. It was
Mm,
just that's all I knew at that moment. I didn't know down the road. I didn't know what this could do for me. I didn't know where it could take me. I knew nothing but those moments of being there playing it, for good and bad reasons. So
did you enjoy every game? I mean, when you went out, was this like like cathartic for you, or was it like, oh God, I've got to go and play golf again?
a little bit of both.
Mm.
Playing, being out on the course was cathartic. The lead up, the practice, the aftermath was not. That
Mhm.
was, yeah, I didn't enjoy that.
So I'm gonna just give a little of a backstory on your earlier childhood, and a little bit of family dynamics. Matthew's dad's nephew was a very famous cricket player, and for those of you who don't come from Africa, cricket is like football here. I mean, if you're good, you're famous, and that was Garth. He was famous, and Matthew's dad actually raised him, and is probably a huge percentage of why Garth made it to be so successful. So as a little boy, Matthew was introduced to sports, and he was introduced to being the best in sports because that was part of the family dynamics. So I'm going to ask you that, when did you first realize, or when did you start understanding that maybe your dad was not the best coach for you? And what was that like?
Um, I knew it early on, but I didn't understand it. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know anything different. That was all I knew was go go go. It's school wasn't even a priority. It was sport, specifically golf and tennis, obviously. Um, I never really had any other coaches in either sport. I had some people here and there that would kind of help me along the way, but my dad was always the most influential for good and for bad. Um, there's when you say when I might recognize that he wasn't good, I can remember a very specific moment. I couldn't tell you the age, probably 11, 10, 12, 13, I don't know, somewhere around that age. And I said earlier, I loved playing because it was just me playing. The other stuff I didn't like because this particular moment, it was during a practice session and we were out practicing and it was always just got to be perfect, and the old saying, practice makes perfect is a lie. It's not. Practice makes permanent. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. I don't care how much you practice. You're never going to be perfect. You're never going to hit every shot perfect. In
Right.
practice makes permanent. You have to work on these things. And there was one specific practice to go back is I remember hitting a bunker shot, blading over the green, horrible shot, horrible shot. And instead of coach, dad being okay, what did you do there? Where was your wrist? Where were your hands? Where were your hips? Let's work on that. How do we get better? How do we not do that? It was you hit one more of those shots, we're done, we're leaving. Oh shit. Okay, well, that sucks. So then the pressure on every single shot is just so much higher. That's why I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't
Mhm,
because I had lack of desire. I love the sports. I just hated the practice parts.
mhm. So, I mean, I've spoken to quite a few of my friends who are quite a bit younger than me and have younger children, and they have periodically asked me, you know, how did Matthew deal with a parent being really the coach in your younger days? Um, they've had good experience with their child's father, and they have had not such good experience. So what would you, because a lot of it is also body language, and
Mhm.
I've seen you out there. And I've felt my body language sometimes is reflected onto you. Do you notice that? What could you say to parents that are coaches? How do you coach as a parent? I mean, it's hard because
Yeah.
you have to be that special person to understand.
It is. I mean, I can't speak from personal use, but I can imagine being a coach and a father is extremely difficult. Because you just want the best for your child. You know, it was never out of ill will. It was just you wanted the best for your child, and you want to give them every opportunity. And you think what you're doing is the right steps, but who's there to tell you that it's not? So it's a tough challenge. You know, not to say that everything was bad. There was obviously some great things about having a coach as a father. But you know, if you could go back and do it a little bit differently, I would just want some more positiveness. You know,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
body language, like you said, is a huge thing when you're out there playing. I can tell his mood by his body language. You know,
Hmm.
obviously, that's not what you're supposed to do while you're playing sports. You're supposed to be out there focused on your sport, not worried about everything else. But you're looking at your father, your coach, your mentor, everybody, and you know,
Yeah.
it's you.
You're
Body
feeding off
language
of
tells
them.
so much. Yeah, and it sucks and it just puts more pressure on you.
Yeah. It's that old saying, if you tell a person what to do, they won't learn. But if you teach them
Mhm.
something, they will
Right,
learn. And I think
right.
it's the same with that. I mean, I believe, and I'm just saying this because I happen to be your mother, but I do believe that a lot of your childhood and younger days were very controlled. I mean, you had to get up on a Sunday morning and travel who knows where to a tournament and be back practicing, and you had golf tournaments, so you had a very controlled life. I mean, even your sister was very controlling for
Right.
you, being her younger brother.
Hmm.
I mean, I can think of two things. Once, and this is for the viewers. Matthew almost drowned once because his sister dressed him in one of my dresses, and that's what actually saved him was Matthew's sister and the dress. So she was very protective over Matthew, and there was several times she probably had your back, but again, controlling you, telling you what to do and what not to do. And I think a lot of your younger days were like that
Yeah, I mean,
because you were
definitely.
seen as an up and rising star.
Right, right. I mean, and listen, I loved I love the traveling aspect of going to the tournaments. I love the tournament environment, the competition. I loved all that. And yes, it was controlled, and it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It wasn't great the way it was controlled. It wasn't great, you know. Again, kind of what I said earlier is I didn't know anything other than that moment.
Yeah.
I was never taught that. Listen, this is why we do this stuff, you know. And if you can just teach as you coach and you explain why you do these things, what you do them for, I would have had a better understanding at an early age. You know what? Wow, yeah, I am talented at this. Oh, wow, this can be a career for me. This can take me to
Hmm.
college. It can take me to the pros, whatever. But I had no idea. It wasn't until college where I realized, oh wait, I can do this every day of my life. This will make me money. This will make me a career. I didn't know that. It was
Yeah.
just that moment.
Well, and, now that you mentioned college, talk a little bit about your coach in college and your college experience.
Um,
Because you started college a little bit later than most people. You took a break in between high
yeah,
school and college.
yeah. I was a little burnt out after high school. I took what started as a semester, ended up being 2 semesters off. So I started college. Should have started in '02. I mean, 2000. Started in '02. I just needed some time to
Hmm.
figure me out. I wasn't ready for it. But I had an awesome opportunity from Brian Craig, just a phenomenal coach, but a even better guy, mentor. He is. If it wasn't for him, and shout out to Amy Craiglow, if it wasn't for her, I never would have made it into college, let alone through college. So Brian was I wouldn't say a father figure because he didn't try to be a father figure, but he was a
Yeah.
mentor. He
Yeah.
was a guy there that you could lean on. He explained things to you and gave you a better understanding why we do the things that we do. And again, it didn't click for me in college. I still didn't know that. I enjoyed college. I had a really, really good time, probably too good of a time. But it's I wish I would have known the things, the old saying, I wish I would have known that, would have known now. I wish I would have known things a little bit differently growing up. I wouldn't change the traveling, the tournaments, the practice. I just wish it was done a little bit differently, so I had a better understanding of it.
Yeah, yeah. Give us a short story about your mountain experience.
My mountain experience? What mountain
Yes,
experience?
the drive through the mountain and your car breaking down
Oh my
going to a
God.
tournament.
Oh, okay. So
It's
I was
actually
coming.
not funny, but it is.
It's a great story from now. I was playing mini tour golf at the time. I was somewhere in back of the woods, North Carolina. I was, I was on the road every single week traveling. I didn't have anywhere to live. I would just crash on couches, hotels, things of that nature. So I'm headed from North Carolina. I got a 2-week break. I'm headed back to Kentucky where I went to college just to stay on a friend's couch and hang out there. I'm in Brian Craig, one of Brian Craig, my coach's cars at the time. He lent it to me for the summer so I could drive around. I'm coming through through the Appalachian Mountains, middle of the night, dark outside, car breaks down. This is back in 07, 08, 09, somewhere in that time frame. So, cell phone service wasn't as good then. Car broke down, didn't have cell phone service. Okay, this is it. I grabbed my bags, my golf club on one shoulder, my duffel bag on the other, and I start walking down the highway through the mountains, hitchhiking. Ended up getting picked up by a trucker, super, super awesome guy. We had a great time. He was going to Tennessee to meet his wife, who was also a fellow trucker. They'll meet up. We haven't seen each other in a while, so he took me to Tennessee. I slept the night in the diner. Coach Craig drove from Kentucky the next morning to the diner and the truck stop and picked me up and went back, got the car towed. And again, that's just the kind of guy Brian was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as a mother, I remember you called me either during the night or the next day, and here I am, and we probably only had flip phones back then.
Mm-hmm.
But here I am knowing that my son is in the backwoods of somewhere at truck stops. Yeah, it was a little scary 24 hours for a mother, but hey, great experience for you.
Part of life, man. Great story.
Yeah.
I'm glad it happened. Sucked at the time, but I'm glad it happened.
Yeah. So Matthew, when and why did you give it up? Because you did want to go the pro route.
In golf, yeah. I mean, I gave
Yeah.
up tennis, sophomore
Yeah.
year of high school. When did I give it up, or why did I give it up?
Both.
I gave it up in probably end of 2011 after playing professionally on the mini tours from 07-ish to 2011. A multitude of reasons. I still didn't have that inner belief that I was good enough. So looking back now, realizing how talented I was. Financially, it is, I don't know if you guys know anything about mini tour golf life. It is hard. Like I said earlier, I'm traveling weeks and weeks on end. I don't live anywhere, hotels, cars, truck stops. Financially is very, very difficult. I didn't have any financial backers. I was lucky to have some club sponsors that pay for my clubs and golf balls, but every week I'm going out there trying to make a paycheck just so I can make enough money to play for the next week. And you can't play Thursday and Friday in golf just trying to make the cut. And that's what I was doing. I was playing just to make sure I made the cut instead of trying to go out and win. I was playing safe because I had to, because I didn't have money. You can't make it like that. You just can't. So end of 2011, I kind of had a little minor wrist injury, but nothing that would have kept me out too long. I didn't have the finances. I couldn't take the mental beat down from my father anymore. It was just too much. I just wanted to. I never had a life at that point. Junior golf, high school golf, college golf. We traveled. I said college was great. Don't get me wrong. But we traveled a lot. Afterwards, straight after college, I'm on the road for 4 or 5 years traveling. I just wanted to have weekends now to go hang out with my friends. And I was mid-20s at this time. I was, like I said, already a couple of years behind because I started college late. I was done. It wasn't because I didn't have the talent. I was fucking done.
Yeah. So, and it's hard. I mean, for those of you who don't know anything about golf, and please, I don't really know much about golf, but I know the pressure, and I know what it takes to continue playing golf. It is you playing against literally yourself, and you are playing against money and travel and where's the next tournament going to be, and I've got to make the cut and I don't make the cut. I mean, it is just a roller
I
coaster.
mean, back in when I was playing, I was spending $2,200 a week for gas, hotels, entry fee, food, miscellaneouses. And if you miss the cut in golf, I don't know if you guys know, you don't make the cut, you don't get a paycheck.
Yeah.
So you're playing with so much stress just trying to make the cut. And then on Saturday and Sunday, you have to play so aggressively to make up for kind of lost time, so to speak. If you have financial backing, if you don't have to worry about making the cut, you can go out on Thursday and Friday and play to try to win
Hmm.
instead of trying to just make the cut. I
Hmm.
didn't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
excuses maybe, but
Yeah. It's not as though you don't make the cut because you're not good. I mean, we all now, and I mean, you have said to me several times, you didn't realize how good you were
right.
because you didn't have the time to even be able to see it in yourself because you were chasing these other demons
Mhm.
that you had coming at you all of the time.
Right, right.
I mean, it's a tough gig. It really
Well, I
is.
mean, even not just missing the cut and not getting paid in mini tour golf, they don't pay a lot of money to begin with. So if you make the cut and you finish 10th, 12th that week, great, looks good on the stat sheet. But in the paycheck category, they don't pay a lot of money, and you just spent $2,200. So after you paid another $2,200, you made a couple $100, and that's what you're
Yeah,
living off of. So
yeah,
it's tough. It really is. But
yeah,
looking back now, again, I wouldn't change the trajectory of things. I had a lot of fun doing it. Just wish earlier age I would have been taught more and why and how. I've
hmm,
always just lived in those moments, not realizing where those moments can take me because I was
right,
never taught that. Again, that's not a knock, but it's just the truth.
yeah. So where are you in yourself now? I mean, what would you, you know, as a literally a stepfather, how are you different?
Um, I don't know. I just I'm more understanding. I understand. Like I said earlier, practice doesn't make perfect; it makes permanent. I understand life is a journey. I didn't know about the journey of life. Really did it.
Hmm.
Just way more patient, understanding, and want to experience things now. And just like you said, stepfather, so to speak. When I watch Eli play sports, I don't care how good or bad he played. I just want him to enjoy it. And
Hmm.
then if he wants to go work on the things, we can go work on him. I can help him with that. But um, do you push him? Do you not push him? That's a debate we can have for hours and hours. For me, knowing how I was pushed, I tend to do things now a little bit differently with my stepchild. So it's kind of interesting.
And how do you feel about yourself? Do you have remorseful feelings or are you optimistic? I mean, you're not young anymore, so it's not,
Hmm.
if
Remorseful feelings towards what?
to not to not really kicking yourself in the butt and saying, hey, you know what, I may as well fucking get on the pro tour and do something about it. I know
Um, Go ahead.
I know the obstacles that were there, but maybe even more of a push to get the finances. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it sucks. It sucks knowing that now, understanding and looking back and seeing how talented I was, and knowing that, and I feel it now. Like in my bones, I feel, man, I was really good. I never felt that growing
Yeah.
up. Um, I it sucks, but it's not a big deal because, like I said, I've had great experiences. The traveling, the golf took me all over the world. I wouldn't change that for a world, for
Hmm.
anything. It was awesome. So yeah, I don't. Would I like to be? Sure, absolutely, but I'm content with not being.
So I'm going to sort of swing it around a little bit because we have a few more moments. Um, would there be anything that you could give me as your mother advice? Would there be anything that you would say, why didn't you, or what was it like? I mean, this is shit happens and we got to deal with it. So,
Right. Um, I that's a hard question to answer on the spot. I don't know because I've told you this before. I there's times where I feel like I just woke up and I was 13 years old. Like I don't
yeah.
remember truly a lot of my past. I know we've had some rough stuff happen in our family, and that's okay. Everybody does. I'm just I know some things that you went through, and I'm just happy that you are where you are today. It doesn't matter, you know, about me, what you could have done differently. I'm just happy that you are where you are today. I know that sounds a cheesy mom answer, but it's really the truth. So um
Thank you.
yeah, I wouldn't want anything to change. So yeah, I mean
Okay.
the one thing that I do have to say, listen, I feel like I've been, knocking on dad here a little bit, and of course I have been, but one thing that he always kind of taught me, and this is something that I try to do with Eli so much, is I hate cocky people. I hate people that are cocky, right?
Mm,
But in sports, you got to be somewhat cocky. You
yeah.
really do. You got to think you're the greatest. You have to. You have to have that killer instinct.
Mhm.
I was always too humble, right? I was just too shy, too humble. Um, but he taught me how to lose. He did teach me how to win gracefully and take things in stride. Like you gotta, whether it goes good or bad, you gotta look the person in the eye, shake your hand, congratulate them. So that's one thing that I'm really happy that he taught me was sportsmanship.
To be a
And that's
gentleman.
yeah, yeah. He really is. He was a gentleman.
Mhm,
I'll say that.
mhm.
Open doors, take hats off, learn, win graciously. If you lose, you lose. That's no big deal. But you shake him in the eye, you shake him in the hand, look him in the eye, and you go on about your day. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, some pretty good stuff there.
Yeah. Good. Well, I want to end it, and you may remember this conversation, but you may not. But I have kept it. I actually screenshot our whole text conversation, and I want to share this with the viewers because I think, well, I know it says a lot about Matthew, um, and it says a lot about Matthew and I, son and mother. So Matthew texted me one day, and he said, do you ever have a moment when you want to reinvent yourself? And I said, yes. Why? And Matthew said, I'm just curious. And I, as a mother, kept pushing and said, why? Matthew said, today's one of those days where I want to just start over. And I said, I'm sorry, what happened? Nothing particular, he said. I said, okay. And I continued to push. Is everything okay at work? Do you need anything? Matthew said, work is going great, and no thanks. I don't need anything. This just came about. I was listening to music and felt moved to be passionate, inspiring, and free spirited. I don't feel I am anymore, but do realize that who I am at the core and struggle to get back to where I was. Also, I know I'm making a difference in people's lives through the work that I do at the Y, but I know that I am capable of much more. I said to him, oh, yeah, I struggle to be free spirited. The balance to be free and not to carry everyone's burdens is tough. You and I believe, are meant to inspire others. It's exhausting and takes away from what we so often need, and that is to be free and do things that we want on our terms, alone, not taking anybody's burdens with us. It's the whole guilt thing. However, I'm learning and I'm beginning to not feel guilty. I need my freedom, but I also need to step back into the part of contributing and also competition. Then I step out again. The center point of this balance is our core. The core we must keep healthy. We tend to not take care of ourselves, Matthew. That's when we fall apart. That's the hardest part to manage. But it is vital for us to remain balanced. Food, exercise, rest, music, laughter, literature are the ingredients for a healthy, both physically and mentally. Stay away from negative influences, especially people who suck us dry and will affect our balance. I continue to say, I love you, and you're an amazing influence on so many, Matthew. Matthew said, wow, that is spot on. He said, I feel a void, like something is missing. I have an idea of what that is, but on the top of it is this internal struggle to where I belong and where I want to be and where I want to start my life for me, not for others. And I know that sounds selfish, but it is truly not. I said, I believe, yes, you are a wanderer. That's what keeps the fire in your gut. However, you also need to have a home base with a home and a family environment. And there could be a problem because that type of relationship is very hard to find. You may not belong in any specific place. You belong everywhere. Embrace everywhere. You are free to live your life every day and everywhere. You cannot contribute to anybody else's life unless you are first living you. You and I are wanderers, even in our minds, always looking for ways to make life better and inspire our wandering souls. I have learned to enjoy it, actually. And now, my dear son, I said, Pink Floyd, The Wall, playing in my ears, I'm off to bed in hopes to rest my soul and body. You need to do the same. Wandering does need refueling. Matthew replied, sweet dreams, I love you, and you truly inspire me.
Mom.
I love you. Okay, don't log off, but we are going to log out. This has been great. Thank you for being on the show. I wanted to have you on the show since day one. So, guys out there, just remember that this is taped on Facebook. You can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and please tag, share, and make some comments. And as I always end the show, Cecily and I say, we'll take care of our shit. Matthew, you got to take care of your shit this week. And you guys out there, viewers, you take care of your shit. And we'll see you next week, Friday, same place. Bye, y'all.